Right, hello everybody, and we are back with the instant match reaction. We've not really got any schedule. How do you say it? Schedule to talk about really, but we're just going to talk about the game for about 10-15 minutes. Leeds with an absolutely massive win, a huge win away at Sheffield United. You know, they've had a poor start, but at the end of the day, they're still a top side, finishing 9th last season, going to Bramall Lane again. Twice we've been to Bramall Lane, not conceded, and beating them in the last 5 minutes in both games. Yeah. I think it's testament to Leeds. So, I mean, what are your takes on the game, really?
Yeah, for me, I just thought the staying power stayed in there. We were under pressure, really, weren't we, for long stretches of the game. Particularly, we seemed to have the first 15 or 20 minutes in the first half and the second half, and then we just sort of eased off the gas pedal a little bit, didn't we, and let them into the game. But again, like you said, Conor, testament to our staying power. We were able to stay in the game. We believed in our ability to score, and eventually that showed at the end.
Yeah, definitely. I think. Yeah. I mean, what do you reckon? Do you reckon it was one of those games that we deserved to win, or?
Not to undermine Leeds at all. I wouldn't say it was a clear victory whatsoever. It definitely could have gone either way. Again, scored in the 88th minute. I could have easily seen Sheffield doing the same potentially. I think they had more chances. I think that's fair to say than Leeds. I don't know what the possession was like in the end, but I do think Leeds had more of the second half than they did. Maybe the second half of the second half. Yeah. They were much better compared to the first half. Much more tactical and clinical. But I think the problem arises in the midfield regardless. I think they look stronger at the back than the first two games.
Yeah,
Robin Koch had a fantastic game, unbelievable game.
Yeah.
But I think Sheffield as a whole, they looked more cohesive, didn't they? Individually as well. None of them were really lacking in any area.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think really good points there, Jack. I'd go along with that. We just need to be building more on that. I think what we've got here, though, is we've got two out of three. Our first 3 games, we've got wins. And that's really, really good news.
That's massive.
I think I know one was against the next championship team from last year, and one was against the next championship team from 2 years ago. We just need to get that win against a tried and tested Premier League team, don't we? That's coming up next time round, so why not bring it on?
Yeah, exactly. And Leeds now in 6th place in the Premier League, and it's been an absolutely blistering start, hasn't it? Obviously, showing a really good account of ourselves at Liverpool. For me, we should have got something out of that game. I think they were quite lucky to get something out of that game. But I also think that the Fulham game, it was a good performance. And again today, and once again defensively, I know maybe it wasn't great in the midfield. I personally didn't think it was good in the midfield, but I think defensively we looked brilliant. I thought Robin was outstanding. Yeah. I thought his best game in a Leeds shirt. What did you think of Leeds defensively?
Yeah, without a doubt, Con. I think they were so much better. And I think for me as well, one of the things that I've been saying to you really for the last sort of couple of months is I was really concerned about Leeds at the back with our keeper, first and foremost. Yeah. I've been banging on about us getting a keeper, certainly in this transfer window. But what he did today is really sold it to me now. I can see what Bielsa's seen in him, and that's really made the back four feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Because quite often you build on the confidence you get from the keeper.
Yeah, that's true.
And that back four now can look at that guy behind them and think we've got somebody we can rely upon, and they can get on and play their game. And that really did come through today, I think.
I think the Meslier scenario, it was never that we think Meslier needs to be replaced. It was a fact of you just needing an experienced head there to help him through. It was never a case of let's go out and get a 23, 24-year-old keeper who's going to replace him. It was a case of let's get a 34, 35-year-old keeper who's going to come in and be able to coax him through the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dallas looked much better than he did in the Fulham game as well. He really, in second half as well, he was showing signs of pushing up forward from the back.
Yeah.
Kind of reminiscent of what Ben White kind of does.
Yeah.
Like we say, Koch was brilliant. And I thought Cooper had quite a good game. He had his odd moment.
He got into it, didn't he?
Yeah, I think.
Well, and obviously, once again, touching on that, obviously going forward, I thought we were a little bit slow today in parts, and a little bit slow. I thought the transitions of play were a little bit slow, but a shout out once again. I thought Rodrigo was fabulous when he came on. He just how he was getting the ball and he was drawing in Sheffield United players, wasn't he? And then nipping the ball around them. And a shout out to Paveda as well. I thought he was good when he came on.
Yeah, I mean, you saw with Rodrigo there with the goal, didn't you? I mean, he took the ball, chest right with his back to the
two
goal.
Two
players on him, played it out, cross came in, goal. He's probably going to be a little bit disappointed at the end that he was substituted, but he's got to realise that it's for the greater good of the team, really, hasn't he? But I think what this does say as well about Leeds, getting back to what you were talking about defensive-wise, we're going to be hard to beat in this league.
Mm.
It'll be very hard to beat. We're really tightened up at the back, but like with 3 games now, look at the first game. We played against probably the best club team in the world, and we almost won that game.
And as well,
people will be looking at us and think Leeds are going to be a real tough nut to crack.
Yeah, but as well, people are talking. They keep going on about Sheffield United deserving to win that game. How many 5, 6, 7 clear-cut chances? I don't think they were clear-cut chances. I think they had 2 or 3 very good chances.
But so did we.
There was a couple of Bamford's had 4 shots on goal in that game.
Yeah.
Dallas, that has shown now, rounded the keeper and missed an open net. So we're all talking about Sheffield United's clear-cut chances. Leeds could have scored more than one as well, and I think that's important to note, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So we can just see now. We're just seeing some of the highlights there right at the end of the coverage. How important it was to Bielsa. We know how important this is to us going forwards, and. I think we can really look forward to a good season.
I spoke to a Sheffield United fan as well after the game. A lad we've had on the channel called Shore and View Johnny, and he reckoned as soon as Poveda came on, the game sort of changed a little bit as well, which I found interesting. I thought there were spouts in his game where he was a little bit selfish. I think we all knew that, but do you think there was a little bit more energy in the performance when he came on?
I think so. I think he's a real promising future prospect. I think he really is. He brings that kind of South American style play of football. You kind of rarely see that in the Premier League, don't you?
And it'd be nice to see them maybe switching as well. I think he's got that when he's getting used to that kind of quite often. He can play on the left and cuts in, and we can see Costa can play on the left and the right. They can both interchange. I'd like to see that as well. I think that. But then
you saw Harrison, who was providing on his natural side those wonderful balls in.
Sure. Yeah,
so he's one of those where it's like it's.
And we know Harrison can do that as well. So I think it'd be great to see those Leeds wingers, whoever it may be, all 2 or 3 of them, really just interchanging, swapping wings, because it's going to confuse defences.
I was thinking that having Poveda on and Harrison as well. That's a really good dynamic there. But both sides of the field, it really is. They're both quick on the ball, great ball handling possession.
Yeah, I think we were saying that earlier, weren't we? We were saying any player that comes on and is direct and is quick is going to unnerve any centre back.
Yeah, absolutely, there's no doubt about it. No doubt.
Yeah, let's see what some of you guys are saying in the comments. I've seen some stuff on. Apparently, Wilder's been saying that Wolves are outstanding and Leeds are decent.
That's just Chris Wilder's never going to give Leeds too many plaudits, is it? We're a fellow Yorkshire team. He doesn't want to be doing that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, he's
deep down he knows. He's not going to say that on national TV.
No, Joe making a good point here. To be honest, it's great we can win games with multiple goals and then show a sort of different side to our game. We can then scrape a 1-0.
Yeah, but I think we all knew that as Leeds fans today.
Well, you said 1-0, didn't you?
Yeah. I think you did as well, Chad, didn't you?
Both
for me, it's either going to be a 0-0 or a 1-0. And we could all see that as Leeds fans. It's never going to be a goal fest between these two teams. We've had it in the dim, distant past, but recent games, it's not been like that.
I think they've got very similar styles of play, both teams. They did in the Championship.
Cancel each other out.
They do the way they do the short 1-2s, the tight spaces.
Yeah, both teams know each other very well.
They do. It is like a true Yorkshire derby.
Yeah, it is.
Do you still think, obviously, Harry's come on here and said that we need a backup winger and a cam? Obviously, the cam is essential for me with regards to Pablo. But would you sort of, obviously, there's been a lot of talk on Todd Cantwell. I don't know if you were here earlier on, the Norwich cam, who's a 10, very good player, got multiple assists, and that's who they just asked Bielsa about there, and he was a bit sheepish on the answer. So BT Sport, they're actually asking about Todd Cantwell as well. So maybe I was wrong before. There's something in that. So with regards to getting a cam, do you think that it's absolutely essential that we also get a winger?
I don't know. I mean, for me, that one of the concerns there was Berger and the amount of time he was getting on the ball in the middle. It only seems that we've got Calvin, who's the kind of player in the middle, can break down. But I'd like to see more of a player like that alongside Calvin, somebody who's offering what he can offer. Yeah. Somebody who can really break down play and disrupt opposition midfielders. That's what I'd like to see. I'm always talking about cams and people moving forward and being progressive, but you do need that element as well. And I sometimes think Calvin really has an awful lot to do in the centre of the park for Leeds.
Well, that's it. Like you were saying, he was the only one really going in for those tackles, really pushing people off the ball. You need another Leeds player as physical as he is. You know,
they're talking about this Dutch lad, this Koopmeiners, who's a very similar mould. But I think it is what we've said numerous times. I still fully don't feel in that game we had ultimate control of the midfield.
No, we didn't.
So the midfield
that's
third,
the worry, isn't it?
And there was a couple that obviously Sander Berger, like you reckon he was the best player on the pitch,
I think
didn't
so.
you?
For me, he was man of the match today. You know, he just seems to be able to, run from. That's the kind of player I think we need.
Sander Berger,
somebody like Sander Berger in our team, in our midfield, somebody like that who can break down plays, get into the tackle there, moving it forwards with the ball, very progressive. That's exactly the kind of player I'd like to see as a choir.
Yeah, and Gila is saying here that another cam more than a winger, and I think I'd probably agree. I mean, just on the basis of that, Lauren's saying here we need a CM and a cam. I'd probably agree. I think it is more prevalent now because of the midfield battles being lost in a couple of games now. For me personally, we've got the win. It's brilliant, but there are still things that need to be addressed in this side. It's not just sunshines and rainbows. We need to still keep progressing, and it's a full season. It doesn't just stop at 3 games. So I think I don't know, Jack. Would you want another CM instead of a winger?
I think that's priority for us. Yeah, I think.
And you'd be happy with Poveda, just as a.
I would. I would. Yeah. I think that Leeds derby game when it came on for a bit last season. I thought you need to watch him. You need to watch this lad.
Yeah.
Like we say, this Sandy Berger, he really controlled the flow of play, and he had too much space. He did, and Phillips can't do it all. So it's
no, he can't.
And you come up against much stronger teams. No disrespect to Sheffield, but you are. This Man City is going to be a real test, and they haven't got the strongest physical team, Man City. But
it's having the players there that can disrupt the flow through the middle, isn't it? And a lot of the time at the moment, we're just struggling a bit with Calvin having to do that job on his own, I feel.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see Kevin De Bruyne, in that position. I don't know.
So if you were, with how many players do you think before the window closes? How many? Obviously, realistically, do you think we're going to get?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've mentioned earlier on about Melier and the job he's doing, and the fact that he's really instilling confidence in the back four. I'd still like to see a keeper come in. I really would, as backup to Melier, because I think unfortunately, if that lad gets injured, we really are going to be struggling. That's, to me, it's almost the most important position on the pitch. So I would like to see him get a keeper in. I'd like to see him get another midfielder in as well. So for me, a keeper and a midfielder.
I could see him getting one more player. Yeah, just one more. And I'd rather that be a midfielder actually at this point.
When you say midfielder, though, do you want a cam or a central midfielder? So do you want an 8 or a 6, or do you want a 10? It's going to be one or the other, isn't it? If you go for a keeper.
I'd like to see more of the Berger type player that we saw today. That's what I'd like.
So someone who can do both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Obviously, we've not really touched on him yet, but Patrick Bamford, again, 3 goals in 3. I mean, he's proven everyone wrong, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly me. I think, when you look at last year, sometimes he was so wasteful, wasn't he, in front of goal? Look at him this year. It seems like he's just like a man on fire. And my opinion of Bamford's changed. I really didn't think he'd be able to cut it even at Championship level. The amount of, and yet he ended up with 16 goals, didn't he, at the end of last season? Yeah. Look at him already; he's already got 3 this season. We've only played 3 games in the Premier League, the best leagues in the world. So my opinion, without a doubt, has changed with regards to Bamford. He's doing a fantastic job for us at the moment.
Yeah,
he's almost one of the first names you jot down on your team sheet now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's completely determined, isn't he? Yeah. I've got full faith in him. Yeah. You talk about Dan James coming in. Yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm not that bothered personally. I'd rather save money, like you say, put on a keeper.
Yeah. So what about you, Connor?
Well, I think the big thing with Bamford is, I think what I notice is when he goes off. When he goes off, I think Leeds always drop 5 yards, and I don't think the press is as aggressive from the front.
Yeah,
and I think what we were talking about earlier, people putting themselves about, you've got to do that going forward as well. You've got to put yourself about in the midfield. The press is great, but if you're not doing that aggressively enough, I think, obviously we're talking in the first half, I don't think Leeds are aggressive enough in the press, sometimes in the midfield, but from the front, I think we definitely lose something when Bamford goes off.
Yeah, it seems to be, doesn't it? I mean, it's weird we're saying this because the defence hasn't really been up there for the first 2 games, and we're all just so impressed today with the way we held it. It seems like at the back and at the front, we're really doing something right at the moment. In the middle, we're still a little bit unsure. It really needs to be, solidified, doesn't it?
I think
Needs to be shored up a little bit in the middle.
That shows how well Bamford's doing as well, because the midfield haven't been as good as the opposition.
Yeah.
He's not seen much of the ball, Bamford. He's quite isolated. So when he does actually get that, dare I say, kind of rare, pass through to him, he makes the most of it. Do you know what I mean? He's really grown in that sense. So.
Yeah, and Thomas is just saying we didn't. I don't know if we pressed as hard today. I'd probably agree with that. I don't think we've pressed as hard in these first 3 games, or aggressively anyway. I think it's fair. I think you saw Sheffield United were probably pressing as high as. I mean, I think last week we thought Fulham. I think you said last week Fulham are going to tire out, and they didn't. They just kept coming and coming and coming.
It's the opposite. Leeds looked more fatigued than they did. Yeah.
We did seem to allow an awful lot of space to them, didn't we, today?
You saw Bamford at the end, how tired he was. He really did. It's quite rare to say that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to sort of go through some player ratings, then Meslier, you have to come to an agreement. But what are you giving him out of 10?
I'd go for a good 8 today.
8 or 9.
We'll go. Yeah. I think we'll go with a 9. Right. Luke Ayling.
Yeah, I'm going like 7 for Ayling. He started off really well. But he was consistent, good performer through the team. Yeah, I'll go for 7.
Yeah, 7 or 8 even. Yeah, 7.5.
I think there was that moment, wasn't there, where he did really well in the first half, got caught out. Yeah. Osborne went through, and then Meslier made that unbelievable save. So I'd probably give him. I think he was. I don't think he was on his best today. I think like a Liverpool game, for example, he was unbelievable. Yes. But I don't think he got forward as much. In this game, and obviously that's because I presume that's because of Sheffield United's wing backs. So with regards to Robin,
I mean, right up there, wasn't he today? It just seems to be settling in now. He really has sort of, staked his claim to be the first choice centre back now alongside Cooper.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go for an 8.
And what I loved about him during that game was that you had Sharp and McBurney coming on as a change to McGoldrick and Burke, who were really good in the first half. But then you have to adjust to 2 completely different type of players. Like, Sharp's not got pace, but he's a burly, small fox in the box. And then you got McBurney, who comes on, who was a big physical presence. I mean, for me, I'd be going Robin 9. I thought it was phenomenal.
He really handled that well.
He didn't lose. I think the big thing to look at is he didn't lose any individual battles, did he? There was nothing lost from Robin.
His percentages were so good.
Passing as well, he's passing out from the back. And once again, it did really look like him, and it obviously we'll move on to him in a sec, but Cooper, in terms of, I've noticed in the past couple of games there's not as much focus on Cooper. It's very sort of quiet, and I always think if you are quiet then you're sort of having a decent game, aren't you? So what would you go for Cooper?
Solid reintroduction for me. I'd say 7 Cooper.
I think that's fair. Isn't it?
A couple of times where he's maybe caught a little bit, but
no clear horrendous mistakes, anything like that. Just maybe
It'll be interesting to see what it's like when we come up against a real class team. We're going to see that next time.
Man City's going to be very interesting.
We'll really see. We didn't see what it was like against Liverpool.
Yeah.
We saw what it was like last week. I mean, that was really his first game back after injury, so you can't really get a feel for how he was playing. Today was really his first opportunity. I thought he had quiet moments. Some moments where he was really alive to the game. So, we'll see what Liam Cooper's all about when we come up against them. Man City next time round.
Yeah, but obviously, you look at Man City, Aguero and Jesus are both out.
Right.
So both the centre forwards are out. So then you're looking at, I don't know if they're going to be playing a false 9. I presume there's going to be one of those midfielders like they normally do, where they'll end up putting flipping Mahrez up front and he'll play as just something like that. But it's going to be interesting because they reckon they've got 3 or 4 injuries, but we know with Man City, they can have 3 or 4 injuries.
It means nothing to the squad, and we had 3 or 4 injuries today, didn't we, for Sheffield United? And they're players that could come in and still give us a really good game. So,
Yeah. And then obviously we've got left back Dallas. I thought he had a bit of a nervy start, but I think he came into it a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, well, for me, he's Mr. Reliable, isn't he? He can really always count on Dallas. We know he had a few problems against Fulham, but he's nearly always there for us, and he almost scored today, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So then we've got in the midfield Calvin, obviously an early booking, but I think he was brilliant.
It was excellent. That would have upset the apple cart for an awful lot of players getting booked in the first 5 minutes. It didn't deter from his game whatsoever, did he, Connor? He was bang on with his game. He was a massive influence for us, and he was really, really it was probably almost our most important player today for the win.
So Dallas, you'd have given him what rating wise?
Well, Dallas, yeah, I'll go 7 Dallas. I would definitely say an 8 for Calvin.
8 for Calvin. Yeah. Okay, then we move into the midfield. Probably a little bit of a controversial one. Today for me, I don't think he had his best game. But what about Click?
Click, yeah. You can never tell with Click. You know, there were moments there which really wasn't very pleasing. You know, when you seen him stroll around the pitch and they're pressing forwards. I think there was one moment I can't remember whether it was in the first half or right at the start of the second half. You know, and he really should have been tracking back. But I think that was one of those moments when maybe he just lost a bit of concentration. We need full concentration, don't we, at all times when we're playing at this level. So yeah, there were those moments, but then he was still there pressing right at the end. You know, could have been a little bit wiser with the ball right at the end when we need to keep possession, and he loses possession. A bit of an awkward pass, gave the ball straight back to them. But yeah, not one of his best games. But strangely, in the middle, he's almost one of our most inventive players. So that's why you've got to play him, especially with Pablo being away. He's always looking for these little dinks, these little passes, these little moves to get us moving forward.
That's for me. That's all well. It's all well and good going forward. He's excellent going forward, but the defensive role as a midfielder, it's as important, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
And I think today Click there was a couple of times where he maybe wasn't following his man. I thought Sander Berger, obviously he was clearly told to stick on him, but Berger I thought had the run around with him at that point.
Yeah, I'd go 6 today.
6 for Click. Yeah, would you agree with that?
I'd agree with it. I noticed. I don't know if it was energy levels that, or whether because he used to do that a lot in the Championship.
Yeah, it seemed tired, didn't he?
It's just that lack of consistency is quite annoying because you know what he can do on the pitch, but. It's bizarre, wasn't it?
Yes. And then so obviously we've got, as Tyler Roberts was dragged off in the first half. Obviously, if you're giving him a rating on that 45.
Didn't really see much of him, did we? No. Yeah. So, you know, I'm going to go same as Click, I think. Probably 6. Based on his contribution. 6.
That's 6.
6, yeah. And then obviously we've got Bamford.
Yeah. Well, for me, you know,
goal scorer.
You know, had a great game, didn't he? Again, you know. So yeah, 8 for me.
Yeah, I didn't go 9. I know he had a couple of chances with the headers, but I'd say he wasn't. He handled it quite well.
Yeah,
wasn't like
he kept going, didn't he?
You know, barely off target, and
yeah. We'll go with the 9. I think he deserves it. Yeah. And then obviously the substitutions. We had Rodrigo,
another 8.
I think an 8. I think that's definitely fair.
And you got to think he's playing out of his position as well. He's playing out of position, and I think he took on the role really. I mean, he was so much better than Roberts when he came on.
He was.
Yeah, he did well reading the game when he came on. I think he adapts quite quickly, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I noticed that. He does. Style of play.
And then obviously we had what are the substitutions? Was it Alioski? Do we have any others? No, we didn't. Do we? Yeah, Alioski obviously didn't really have much to go on.
6. You know, he did what he needed to do.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Right, guys, we're gonna pull that. We're gonna bring that to an end. If you are new on the channel, there's nearly 500 of you watching now. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this format, let us know in the comments section below. Obviously, when this video is processed, you can put your comments on the video. Just let me know. Do you like the format? Is this something that you'd like to see going forward? Because I think these two would be keen to get involved as well. So yeah, instead of just me sat on my own and just talking at a camera and getting dry mouth. But yeah, guys, make sure, as I said, you slap a like on the video, and we will be back with probably something called The Final Word with Rob Mulholland, which I'm starting as a series. I'm going to ask Rob to come on. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and we will